You were never meant to understand how wealth truly works. The rules you were taught, work hard, stay honest, wait your turn, were not written to set you free. They were written to keep you useful. Every society must disguise its power structure, and the most efficient disguise is morality. The poor are told that patience is virtue, that humility attracts reward, that transparency builds trust. But while they show effort to prove their goodness, the truly powerful move in silence, rewriting the definition of virtue as they profit from obedience. Machiavelli saw this centuries ago, watching princes shape entire nations not through fairness, but through perception. He realized that power is never moral in its construction. It is psychological in its design. The strong are not those who fight hardest, but those who learn how others think, feel, and hope. Those who know when to reveal and when to conceal. Those who act through the illusion of goodness while quietly engineering control. That is the hidden way, the invisible machinery that decides who rises and who remains loyal to their own illusions. You were raised inside a theater. Every rule, every ritual, every promise of reward is a script designed to keep you performing. The lights shine on virtue, but the stagehands of wealth pull levers behind the curtains. You applaud the actors who seem noble while the director collects your applause as currency. And if you ever question why your honesty yields exhaustion, while their deception yields comfort, you are told to be patient, as if time itself will correct injustice. It never will. Time only rewards those who understand how to bend it. Wealth, in Machiavellian terms, is not accumulation. It is positioning. Imagine a chessboard where most players rush forward, driven by emotion, chasing victory they cannot see. The Machiavellian strategist does not rush. He studies the rhythm of others' impatience. He builds position, waiting for chaos to exhaust the predictable. When the crowd finally collapses from movement, he advances a single step and wins. That is how real wealth is created, not by motion, but by precision. The modern system depends on noise. Social media, politics, culture, all engineered to keep you visible, reacting, transparent. Because the more you reveal, the easier it is to predict you. Visibility is the new slavery. You think exposure gives opportunity, but exposure is simply a mirror for control. The rich sell mystery, the poor sell access. The rich orchestrate scarcity, the poor overshare in desperation. The hidden way begins when you invert this pattern, when you stop explaining yourself, stop justifying, stop narrating your progress. Silence, properly used, becomes a fortress. You were taught to crave recognition, but recognition is not respect. It is surveillance. Every time you seek to be understood, you surrender leverage. Machiavelli warned that men are easily conquered through vanity. Give them visibility, and they will mistake it for influence. Meanwhile, the real rulers operate in the dark, shaping outcomes while their names remain absent from every headline. You call them lucky, but they are simply invisible by design. To get rich from nothing, you must first unlearn the addiction to being seen. Begin to value obscurity. The weak chase attention, the powerful harvest it. Let others waste energy proving themselves. You will gather their data, their habits, their fears, their rhythms, and translate that into timing. Invisibility gives you the most valuable resource on earth, unpredictability. When people can't fully read you, they overestimate you. When they overestimate you, they serve you. The poor believe success comes from honesty. The rich know success comes from alignment. You can speak truth endlessly and still starve if your timing is wrong. But a single lie, placed strategically, can build an empire if it aligns with collective desire. This is not immorality. It is understanding the architecture of belief. Every market, every faith, every ideology functions by selling an illusion strong enough to make others move. Whoever creates the most compelling illusion commands the flow of energy, and therefore of money. Machiavelli's genius was realizing that people do not want truth. They want stability. They fear uncertainty more than injustice. Offer them comfort, and they will trade freedom for it. The modern prince does not need armies. He needs narratives. Influence today is built not on violence, but on emotional architecture. Fear, belonging, hope. Those who master emotional architecture can redirect entire economies without touching a coin. You were told that honesty earns trust, but Machiavelli knew trust is manufactured. Appear virtuous, he said, because virtue is what the masses recognize as safety. Be generous when seen, ruthless when unseen. Modern power follows the same law. Curate your image, conceal your intent, show empathy in public, make calculations in private. You will be praised for authenticity while executing precision behind the curtain. Wealth today is no longer a material system. It's a psychological network. Banks, brands, institutions, they all sell trust as product. Money itself is belief. Once you understand that, you stop chasing numbers and start shaping perception. The moment people believe your success is inevitable, it becomes inevitable, because belief directs behavior. The stock market, religion, relationships, all run on perception loops. The Machiavellian mind learns to enter those loops not as participant, but as designer. Consider this. A poor man sells his labor, a rich man sells meaning. One exhausts his body, the other manipulates attention. The poor compete for fairness, the rich compete for dependence. The hidden way is not to join that competition, but to design the field where others compete for you. That is the true luxury of power, not abundance, but control over structure. Every empire begins with a silence misunderstood as weakness. Every fortune begins when someone stops defending their goodness. You cannot be both transparent and untouchable. Choose one. The moment you choose invisibility over validation, your evolution begins. You will feel fear, guilt, even loneliness. Those are signs of detox. You are shedding the need to be approved by the same system that profits from your predictability. Machiavelli would call this phase the shedding of virtue. Virtue, in his language, meant not goodness but effectiveness, the ability to act with precision in chaos. True virtue is not moral purity, but strategic coherence. To act rightly is to act effectively, not righteously. And to act effectively, you must accept that perception will always lie. You will be called arrogant for being silent, selfish for being focused, cruel for being decisive. Let them speak. Every accusation confirms your leverage. You cannot rise while trying to correct everyone's opinion of you. Every explanation dilutes your power. Every defense exposes your need. Invisibility requires restraint, the patience to let misunderstanding serve as camouflage. While they discuss your motives, you advance your structure. This is the art of cold movement. Slow, deliberate, unseen until complete. Wealth begins with a shift in identity. You must no longer think like a worker begging for permission, but like an architect designing a system. A worker produces value. An architect controls it. Stop asking, "What can I earn?" Start asking, "What can I shape?" The difference between effort and leverage is the difference between exhaustion and freedom. The system rewards those who design motion, not those who sustain it. Power will always hide inside abstraction. That's why you never see the richest faces during crisis. They own silence the way others own property. Their invisibility protects them because they know that the moment the masses see their structure, the illusion collapses. The most efficient power is the one that looks harmless. Be polite, agreeable, calm, but never transparent. And yet, you must not confuse invisibility with isolation. The powerful are never alone. They are surrounded by dependents. Every loyal follower, every admirer, every debtor is a layer of armor. Dependency is the invisible wall between ruler and ruled. Machiavelli advised princes to make others need them more than they need others. In modern life, this means becoming the bottleneck of value. Make yourself irreplaceable, not by being everywhere, but by being the center of something others can't function without. When you understand dependency, you will begin to see money differently. It is not the reward for work, it is the proof of control. It flows to whoever defines value, not to whoever delivers it. Define what matters, and the world will bring you tribute in exchange for belonging to your illusion. But to reach this point, you must sacrifice your innocence, the belief that honesty is enough, that fairness will save you, that being good guarantees safety. These must die. Wealth begins with psychological death, the moment you stop trying to win in a game designed for your obedience. The hidden way is brutal because it exposes how much of your virtue was indoctrination. But once the illusion dies, the clarity that replaces it is liberation itself. The first step is withdrawal. Withdraw your emotional labor from those who only consume it. Withdraw your explanations from those who question your worth. Withdraw your energy from conversations that go nowhere. Every withdrawal creates scarcity, and scarcity creates value. This is not coldness, it's calibration. You are teaching the world how to treat your time. The second step is observation. Watch how people move when you stop giving. Those who disappear were never loyal, they were feeding. Those who adapt were never dependent, they were aligned. Observation reveals truth faster than confrontation. Silence extracts confession. And the final step is reconstruction. Replace your need for recognition with a hunger for control. Not control over others, but over your own energy. Wealth is concentration. When you direct attention with precision, opportunities bend toward you like gravity. Machiavelli's wisdom is not about cruelty, it's about awareness. To see human nature clearly is to stop being its victim. Once you understand what motivates people, fear, vanity, desire for safety, you no longer resent manipulation, you transcend it. You begin to move through life like a strategist, calm amid chaos, detached from noise. That calm is wealth in its purest form. You've now seen the machinery beneath the illusion. The question is, can you operate within it without becoming what you once despised? Machiavelli would answer without hesitation, yes, because survival is not sin. Blindness is. The truly moral man is not the one who refuses to see darkness, but the one who learns to move through it without drowning in it. The hidden way begins when you stop asking for fairness and start studying patterns. Watch how the world moves when fear rises. Observe how quickly morality changes when profit is threatened. Every collapse, every scandal, every public outrage exposes the same structure. Emotion drives the crowd. Calculation guides the few. If you wish to rise from nothing, you must join the few, not by imitating their greed, but by understanding their rhythm. The poor react to emotion. The rich design it. They know when to appear outraged, when to appear generous, when to remain silent. Their calm is not detachment, it's choreography. Every gesture, every pause, every act of humility is a tool. To the untrained eye, it looks spontaneous. To the Machiavellian eye, it's a strategy of perception. Consider how public virtue works. When a leader donates, when a company apologizes, when an influencer cries on camera. None of these are accidents. They are recalibrations of image. The world doesn't reward honesty. It rewards those who control what honesty looks like. That's why transparency without timing is suicide. The more you reveal without reason, the cheaper you become. Control your image the way a sculptor controls marble. Remove excess, reveal intention. Wealth, once again, is not accumulation, but design. The richest men are architects of emotion. They know that if you can define what people feel, you can dictate what they value. And when you dictate value, you no longer compete. You own the arena. That is why Machiavelli insisted that perception outweighs truth. He understood that most men see with their eyes, not their minds. They do not analyze, they react. So the one who directs their vision becomes their invisible ruler. Start small. Apply this principle in your everyday world. When you walk into a room, pause before speaking. Let silence announce you. People fear gaps. They fill them with imagination, usually in your favor. When someone asks for your plan, share half. The mystery compels investment. When confronted, speak calmly. Calmness in chaos signals dominance, and dominance attracts allegiance. Each of these micro-behaviors teaches others one truth. You are not available for manipulation. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the prepared mind. Preparation today means mental neutrality, a state where you can watch your own emotions like an outsider. Anger, jealousy, urgency, these are weapons used against the untrained. When you master neutrality, you become unreadable. The world cannot trap what it cannot predict. That is invisibility in practice, not disappearing, but becoming opaque to influence. The next layer of wealth is leverage. Leverage turns one decision into 1,000 results. It's the invisible multiplier separating exhaustion from efficiency. In Machiavelli's time, leverage was land and loyalty. In yours, it's information and attention. Whoever interprets information faster controls those still reacting to it. Learn to read patterns before they become trends. Study sentiment before it becomes market movement. Anticipation is the modern form of power, and attention, the currency of the century, must be treated like gold. Never waste it on outrage, gossip, or defense. Spend it only where it multiplies. Every scroll, every argument, every click you give away is a deposit into someone else's empire. The poor pay attention, the rich collect it. Withdraw yours, and you immediately rise above 90% of the crowd. But attention alone is not enough. You must convert it into authority. Authority doesn't mean dominance. It means inevitability. When people assume you know what you're doing, they act accordingly. Confidence, consistency, and restraint form the triad of authority. Confidence attracts. Consistency reassures. Restraint mystifies. Together, they create belief. And belief, when multiplied, becomes economy. Think of how nations move. A flag, an anthem, a story, mere symbols, hold millions in emotional alignment. The elite mimic the same principle at smaller scale. They build brands, ideologies, reputations, mental structures that persist even when they're absent. That's the Machiavellian art of invisibility, when your influence operates without your presence. At this stage, morality will tempt you to turn back. You'll hear inner voices whisper that power corrupts, that secrecy is deceit. But understand, corruption begins not with power, but with fear. Fear of losing what you built. The antidote isn't guilt, it's clarity. Use power consciously. See manipulation for what it is, a neutral instrument. A knife can carve or kill. Only intention defines its morality. The final evolution is detachment. Detachment doesn't mean apathy. It means control over attachment. Every time you need a specific outcome, you expose a weakness. The strongest negotiators can walk away because they've built systems that feed them regardless of victory or loss. Build such systems. Multiple income flows, diversified skills, alliances that cross domains. Each layer removes desperation. Detachment is not coldness, it's freedom from dependence. When you achieve this, something extraordinary happens. Your silence starts to speak louder than other people's noise. People begin to project power onto you. They assume competence, wisdom, superiority. Some will envy you, others will submit to you. Do not correct them. Let perception serve your purpose. Machiavelli taught that it is better to appear merciful than to be merciful, better to appear wise than to be wise. In the theater of humanity, illusion is infrastructure. But remember the warning. Every illusion must contain truth at its core. Lies rot when detached from reality. Anchor your perception in genuine value, skills, insight, discipline, so that your image can sustain pressure. When illusion rests on substance, it becomes myth. And myths outlive markets. Wealth, in its highest form, is serenity. The unshakable calm of someone who cannot be emotionally purchased. Money can vanish, titles can fade, influence can shift, but serenity endures because it's built on self-command. Machiavelli would call it fortuna under mastery. The storm still rages, but you decide the direction of your sails. So ask yourself now, what truly controls you? Approval? Fear? The need to be seen? Every chain you uncover becomes leverage once you stop hiding from it. The moment you name your conditioning, it loses grip. You begin to move as if the world were clay and you the sculptor. That is the silent transition from survival to sovereignty. Soon you will notice the shift. Conversations change. People defer. Opportunities appear without chase. This is not luck. It's resonance. You've aligned perception, timing, and intent. You no longer play by the rules of effort. You operate by the geometry of power. The visible still chase applause. You collect silence. The difference is everything. In time, you'll realize that getting rich from nothing was never about wealth at all. It was about awareness, the recognition that everything valuable in this world begins unseen. Ideas, strategies, transformations. Visibility is merely the shadow cast by mastery. Once you master the hidden layers, emotion, timing, perception, money becomes a side effect, not a goal. And that's the final truth Machiavelli left between his lines. Fortune belongs to those who no longer wait for permission to act. The rest remain servants to their own transparency. So stand in silence for a moment. Feel the weight of this knowledge. You no longer need to prove your worth to anyone. You only need to act as though it were already undeniable. Because when you stop seeking validation, wealth, in all its forms, inevitably seeks you. Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved. Niccolò Machiavelli. This channel isn't for followers, it's for strategists. You've already begun your transformation. Don't stop now, subscribe, and stay 2 moves ahead of those still playing by old rules. Comment below what part of you still obeys the illusion, and which part is ready to rule it. The next video will not teach you how to earn more. It will teach you how to become untouchable.